The Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians sets up a hierarchy to help Christians understand where they stand in relation to God and to Jesus. And in doing so, he actually demonstrates that God is greater than Jesus and that Jesus, of course, is not the one true God. And so at the end of 1 Corinthians chapter 3, Paul is saying that all things belong to you, second person plural, all things belong to you, that is the Corinthians. And he says in verse 23 that you belong to Christ and Christ belongs to God. So notice what's going on there. You belong to Christ and Christ belongs to God. That's the hierarchy that he has. He has God, of course, at the top, and that's the God, the one true God. And then Jesus belongs to the one true God. He's at a level lower than the one true God. And Christians are at a level lower than that. Christians, of course, belong to Christ. And so you have God, Jesus, and then Christians. What can we learn about how Paul understands the one true God by looking at this statement in 1 Corinthians 3:23? Well, it's clear that Christ is not God because they are clearly distinguished. We can see that Christ is not co-equal with God because Christ belongs to God, and there's no way you can translate that genitive phrase that would undo the fact that Christ is subordinate to the one true God. And it indicates that Paul did not believe in the doctrine of the Trinity because he defines the one God as one who is distinguished from Christ. Paul doesn't say that you belong to the one true God, namely the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. No, he says you belong to Christ, Christ belongs to God, Christ being distinguished from God, so Jesus is not God. Paul never taught that Jesus is God, never once. It's not anywhere in Paul's letters. So I think we could take very clear, simple, straightforward passages like what we see here in 1 Corinthians 3, verse 23, and we could acknowledge that Paul believed that God is the Father alone, Jesus is the Son of God, and that we belong to Christ, meaning that Christians have been the recipients of a great number of blessings already in the present. So, in summary, we can see that God is at the number one position, Christ gets the silver medal, and Christians get the bronze medal in the order of importance. Don't forget to subscribe.
This is the Biblical Unitarian Podcast.